G'day guys, welcome back again. I've just finished my big brown swipe, and while I had the cups still out with a little bit of paint in them, I thought I'd mix up just a little bit more and test a thinner paint mix just to see if we would get any different cells. So this little bit of paint that I've got here is mixed 4 parts floetrol to 1 part paint. So normally I use 3 parts floetrol and 1 part paint, but I'm just going to see what will happen if I use a slightly thinner mix. My last pour earlier today I used the coconut milk hair serum. I'm going to pop a bit of this treadmill lubricant silicone in. Just 3 drops in each. It's a lot thinner than the coconut milk hair serum. I think when you're trying to get just a few drops of the coconut milk, you end up getting a lot more because it's so thick. I won't put any in the black, in the swipe colour. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that's it. That's all the mixing we need. So let's put those on the side there for now. So we have Global Paints Raw Sienna. The darker brown is a burnt sienna. I buy it in the bigger bottles and I just put it into these empty ones. That's why it hasn't got the label on it. But I wrote it on. Burnt sienna. A little bit of brilliant gold, metallic. It's a light gold. Global also do metallic gold and antique gold, as well as the brilliant gold. Black and white. So all mixed the same, 4 to 1, except for the metallic, which is probably 3 to 1, a little bit thicker. Okay, so I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap at the top there for the black, and I'll just pour these other colours on, up and down. So these paints are going to spread a bit easier, being a little bit thinner. So in my cup I put 80 grams of floetrol to 20 grams of paint, 4 to 1. Once I've done this I will tilt. So I want the colours to blend a little bit and to cover the whole card. This is a 30 by 40 centimetre card. This one is 350 grams in weight. So you can buy compressed cardboard or you can just buy thick paper. But at least 350 to 450 grams is a good thickness. Doesn't tend to warp. If it's too thin, when you put the wet paint on it, it just warps. Okay, a bit of gold. Just over the top. As I said, I'm going to tilt and blend, and the colours will move a bit, so they don't have to be in any particular pattern. Get my paints out of the way. Make sure you're hanging onto the card so it doesn't slide off. There's quite a lot of paint on here, so I am going to have to tip a lot of it off. but I want it to blend, so that's why I've put extra on. When your paints blend together like this, you get different coloured cells. So you get cells with other colours inside, which is really pretty. So try and get your colours to overlap a bit. You can see the reaction already where the paints have rubbed together. Oops. Okay, make a little bit of room at the top for my black. If you have run over like that, that's okay, just wipe a bit away. Put some black up there. Not terribly important, you don't have to have a definite stripe there. So no silicone in my black. Pour that on. Not too much. You don't want to have too much black, otherwise when you swipe there'll be just too much black over the other colours and the cells won't be able to pop through if you've got too much black. If the paint's too thick on the board or on the canvas. Now I've got, what I'm going to swipe with is my bit of plastic that I always use. It's a document folder being cut into pieces. Got those lovely cells already up there. So when the black goes over the lighter colours, we should get really nice cells popping up. Won't work if you put a light colour as your swipe colour. You need a dark colour against your light colours. Okay, here we go. Make sure that that's touching all the way along. So I'm not putting any pressure on it, I'm just holding it, supporting it, and I'm going to drag gently. Not pushing down at all. There we go. Just wipe that paint off my piece of plastic. Really handy, those bits of plastic, because you can just wipe them and off you go again. Okay, now I'll give that a minute and then I'll torch it. I just wanted to see what would happen with the thinner mix. So lots of tiny little cells. That's the floetrol that does that. Will always give you tiny little cells. If you've missed your edges and you do want to go over them, you can just use a piece of card. Paint chip sample cards are really good. I'm not going to worry about it because this is just a little test, little experiment. And we've got some interesting coloured cells here. Some of the cells have got 3 colours. So still getting lots of cells with the thinner mix. Maybe not as well defined cells. With the thicker mix, I tend to have more black between the cells. Whereas here, it's just like, you know, little spider webs or lacing. There's really not much black between all these little tiny cells. With the thicker mix here, you do get more black. So I guess it depends on what you're after. If you're wanting a more delicate look like this, the cells are more fine. Not as, I guess, thick rings of black around the cells. Then use a slightly thinner mix like this. We'll just torch it a little bit so you can see if anything else happens. Just at the top here, where the paint's a little bit thicker. Get any bubbles out down here that might be in the pour. So I do think I prefer the thicker mix. I'll just take this camera down off the tripod and I'll show you this one, and then I'll show you the one next to it, the one I did a bit earlier today that's got the thicker mix in it. So that's the thinner mix. The cells are a little finer, haven't got as much black between them. And then we go over here to the big one that I did earlier. And the cells come up a bit closer. See how the cells are more defined, there's more black around the cells. So the cells are bigger and they've got less of the small cells in between. There's got some more little ones. But the cells seem to be better defined with the thicker mix than these ones with the thinner mix. Hope you can see the difference in that. Less black around the cells. You can see it over here in these light coloured ones where the black has been too thin, so it hasn't really made much of an impact over those white cells. Whereas these white cells here are much better defined. There's more black over them. So I think, for me, I prefer the thicker mix. Okay, that is it. I will see you another day for another pour. Bye for now.